let me, yep.
Yes, hi, Tanner. Yeah, I hope you all see me because it's already dark here, so I switched on the light. I hope it doesn't look too creepy. Yeah, hi everyone who is listening to us. So should I share the screen and we get it started?
Yes, definitely. You can get started, Max. And as I said, like one of the guys, I think Luke is staying on the call, or maybe even Steve, so they will listen in. And yeah, we're looking forward to your presentation.
Great. So yeah, I'm sharing the presentation. I hope you hear the presentation and probably me as well.
Yep.
Yes, guys, I will try not to be too selly. So I will not try to sell you everything we have. I will try to give you something that you maybe didn't know before, right? About how this industry works and effectively, like what are the challenges and what are the advantages that crypto processing more like a service instead of like a company will give is giving already to the merchants and basically any business owners who are willing to join somehow the party with cryptocurrency, which I believe everybody heard enough already in the end of the last year and the beginning of this year because it's really booming. Yeah, so I will start from saying a few words about myself. I'm in the industry from 2013, and this is basically not very early days, but these are still days when I was speaking to people about crypto, and they were looking at me like weirdly, right? Why don't you get a normal job? So I've been in the industry for over 7 years, full time, like professionally involved. I'm from Ukraine, as you probably can hear how I speak. So I organized the Bitcoin Foundation of Ukraine. Within this, we were creating meetups, lectures, conferences, and so on. Then I joined Sex.io and Ghash. At that time, was one of the biggest entity in mining and in cloud mining, also the exchange. I am one of the people who participate in the consulting the Parliament of Europe in Brussels, and also I was few times in Den Haag in the Europol meeting regarding cryptocurrencies, where all the police guys are coming to discuss all the new developments, discuss crimes that are happening in this space. Yeah, so about us, also a few words. So we process cryptocurrencies. We have few brands. The main one would be cryptoprocessing.com. So we are right now slightly over 70 people. I would say 75 around. We are spread all over the world. We are working for almost 1 year remotely. We are running this business for 2 years. We reached relatively good volumes even in 2020, so it was around 1 billion euros, which is not bad for relatively a startup. We right now process around 5% of all Bitcoin transactions in the world, right? So basically, every 20th transaction in the blockchain of Bitcoin is either a deposit to us or withdrawal from us. We have quite a lot of merchants, mostly in the space of iGaming, of skin trading like esports, esports betting, and basically few other e-commerce, but the majority would be from iGaming space. Yeah, so basically this is the slide, a very informative one. So I just want to give you a bit like a bit of an overview. What are the challenges that we face? What are the main questions that we usually get from merchants? And especially how the guys right now from the trust payments confirmed that it's still kind of like unclear how to do it, what are the risks, how to mitigate the risks, and so on. And it's basically a whole set of different risks, right? So the main ones would be like, is it really legal even to receive cryptocurrency? Because those who hear about cryptocurrency from the media and from the news, they mostly heard it in early days when crypto was very actively used in the dark net for drugs and all the bad stuff. And they kind of seem to have still the feeling that crypto is something dodgy and it might just be even illegal to deal with. So it's still in the minds of a lot of people. Then somebody asked, like, do I need a special license to accept payments in crypto? Then how do I really accept cryptocurrency, and what to do with the taxes, how to really receive this money in my company accounts, and how to explain the source of funds. So I want to go quickly through this 4, right, to kind of like demystify a bit what cryptocurrency is for business. Yeah, so cryptocurrency is legal. I believe that you all already heard about this, or maybe it was discussed on the event already before. I'm sorry because I just joined, have had a lot of calls in the morning. So yes, it is legal. It of course depends on the place where you are at, right? In European Union is mostly okay in all the countries. In Germany, you might need to have a contract with the special provider. In Malta, I would say you also would need a contract with the company which has the VFA license. But if I'm not mistaken, there are none issued yet. So in some of the countries, it's a bit tricky. In the most of the rest ones, everything is okay. There are some weird countries where crypto is completely illegal, and of course there, if you run a business, but majority of the people don't just run business in such countries. I mean online business. So it usually is not a problem. It's usually just a matter of a small research, right? How's the situation in your country? Then speaking to the right provider. There are few of us on the market, and if you like any professional advice, you can just contact us, and we will be happy to explain how the situation in your country. Yeah, then how do I really accept cryptocurrency? Of course, blockchains and cryptocurrencies is not so easy from the technical point of view. It might be relatively similar to creating your own acquiring, right? So it's technically difficult, right? Here, the difference is you don't really need usually a special license to be connected to the blockchain because it's a decentralized system. You don't really need to ask anyone for a license or for access, right? So with blockchains, you don't really need a merchant account and whatever. It's completely open network. But technical challenge would be high. So usually the way to go is to contact a provider which gives you the services, which has an API, which has a license, which has an audit, and its existing entity in most likely we are speaking here about European Union, with the teams who will explain you how this works and help you to integrate and get it started. There basically there would be questions like how do you comply with AML and the KYC when it comes to cryptocurrency payments? It is still a bit of a riddle to majority of businesses who never kind of like tried to be engaged. So because blockchain is an open network, effectively, there are a lot of technologies which help you to clusterize the whole blockchain into the clusters, right? So basically, when you receive the transaction, you can easily get a score rate of the transaction. So you basically know from where this transaction is coming, right? Either it's coming from some exchange with the good level of the KYC and AML, and you know that these people are checked. This company has the source of funds of the person who bought cryptocurrency and sending you this cryptocurrency. Or if we speak about some illegally obtained funds, right, they also will have a tain. Usually these people will be using the mixers, right? Or if the money are received from illegal activities, you will see the taint from the darknet marketplaces. And so you always have a good idea how clean is the money, right? And where this money are coming from. You don't know exactly the name and the last name that you would, for example, see in the bank transfers, right? It's, I believe with the Visa Master, it's also, if you really want to understand what was really the name on the card, you can do so. With cryptocurrency, just the approach is slightly different. You cannot get it from the sender directly, but you can have a very good idea of the nature of the funds that you are getting. And so it was mostly about AML and understanding the source of funds. In other words, right, whatever you do online, you probably have to obey your own regulation as well. So for example, if you need to check the source of funds, if you provide the services for some amount higher than, then you would ask the person for the documents for this as well, right? So in cryptocurrency, I mean, you should not expect the provider like we to do everything like that you have to do with your customer, because usually these providers, we don't really collect any information about your customer, right? We just provide you the service on receiving cryptocurrency and informing you what's the source of this cryptocurrency using the databases which are available. So there are companies, a lot of them owned by the big groups of cryptocurrency organizations. A majority of them work with the police officers all over the world and help them to investigate the cases and so on. So majority of these companies are created by the former officers of the police or detectives and so on. So here, yeah, if you do your homework with the KYC, with the ML, with check of the source of funds, and you add the source of the money that we can collect for you from the blockchain, you are kind of all set on this sense. Then the second point, that a lot of the merchants also afraid that I don't really want to touch cryptocurrency, right? It creates a lot of the problems for my accountant and so on, because it's fluctuating in price. All my accounting is in euro or USD and whatever. That is also what usually provider will solve for you, right? So the moment you receive cryptocurrency from your player or the customer, whatever the business that you do, for example, if you run an e-commerce business, you sell, I don't know, Adidas sneakers, right? Then, for example, if the pair costs $100, you will just issue an invoice for the customer for the $100. And when they pay with Ethereum, with Bitcoin, Litecoin, or whatever the selection would be, right? I mean, for example, we support around 40 different assets. Some providers will accept less, some will more, but in the end, you would be usually using 5 of them, not really more. Then as soon as he pays with Ethereum or Litecoin, this amount immediately exchanged in the $100, right? So in this case, it's just any other method of collecting the money. You will get the amount that you're supposed to get according to this invoice. Then, for example, if you are not an e-commerce, if you have some platform where you can support an open deposit, that is basically what the majority of iGaming clients would be using. You give to every customer a dedicated cryptocurrency address. So, for example, if they have account, I don't know, on the sports betting, right? I'm trying to remember the name, with a NetBet, for example. With the NetBet, they create account, they click on deposit methods, right? On deposit button, they see the payment methods. When they click on Bitcoin, they will just see the address. They don't have to specify the amount before, because basically the customer who sends you the money from his wallet, it's not like with the Visa Master. When you enter the amount, you enter the details from the card, and then acquirer will basically charge money from the card. With crypto, it doesn't work really that way, because the customer, he owns the funds, right? So as soon as he sees the address, he is the one who decides how much to send. So even with the case of invoices, you just inform him, please send this amount here. You cannot just charge money from him. So the majority of iGaming clients would be using a dedicated addresses, and the customer will decide within his limits that he sees on the screen on sending the amount on which he would like to fund his account. So for example, if he has account in euro, then he has the address which will automatically convert whatever it receives in euros. If he violates his limits, right, or daily deposit limits or whatever, then the iGaming operator will freeze the transaction, contact the customer, and ask where to send him a refund, right, or try or ask him for additional documents to increase his limit. Usually players, they do respect the limits, right, and they don't just send you any amount. If they make a mistakes with the zeros, because you understand with Bitcoin, it's not so hard to do, because usually transactions are 0 something Bitcoin. So here you can basically also find a way around it. If we speak about gambling from the Curacao, as today also was a question about this, majority of the Curacao brands, they don't really bother about the limits so much, right? So this question might even never ever appear. Some also ask about speed of the transaction. That is true. Some of the blockchains are not really quick. For example, we have the ways around. We have different providers, even insurance providers, so that we can guarantee the transaction to the merchant instantly when the transaction is still being confirmed. I don't want to go deep into explaining what does it mean, but because blockchains are not instant, majority of them, you really need to find a way around to make these transactions instant, to protect the merchant from the price fluctuations, and also protect the merchants from any potential refunds, right? As with cryptocurrency, you don't really have refunds, but when you confirm transaction before it is confirmed in the blockchain, this effectively means that you don't still have the money, right? So we have this technology, this set of the providers who help us to build this system. Some of our competitors might have, some might not. But what we specialize on, as you saw in the previous slide, we process quite a lot of transactions monthly. So we, of course, already found our ways to make blockchains quick and to exchange the amount on the fly. So effectively, our merchants will never get any pricing exposure, right? So the moment client clicks the button send, even if Bitcoin will decrease in price immediately after this moment, we basically guarantee you the price. So if the customer had sent the amount that he was supposed to, or if he sends the amount into this open amount address, we have the name channels for them because you kind of establish the channel between the operator and the player. Then also the exchange moment really happens when the customer clicks the button. So the customer just needs to send money, and we take care of the rest. So yeah, we spoke about AML, we spoke about controls. Yeah, and also something that I want to stress more. Basically, I mean, majority of online businesses deal with Visa, Master, and the different sort of acquirers. And you know about fraud happening there. So with like either the card is stolen, right, or the person is just willing to get his refund because he used the service, but he just want to cheat on the merchant. With crypto, it's impossible, right? Cryptocurrency is irreversible. It might not be so painful for retail clients because you can really prove that you provided the service, so send some goods. Effectively, with online entertainment business, right, or some services online, it might be tricky to prove that the service was provided. So especially in the high-risk industries or in the industries where the fraud rates are high, cryptocurrency will solve this question completely. And the second thing that probably the last advantage of having cryptocurrency as a payment method, I would say it's very international, right? It's completely international. So if you work with the customers all over the world, cryptocurrency is like a simple language for all the geographics, right? So wherever you can provide your services, wherever it is legal to provide your services, there is definitely a place or the users who have cryptocurrency, or the place where they can easily buy cryptocurrency. So in any country of the world, if you just Google how to buy cryptocurrency there, you will find a lot of the answers. So in any country in the world, it's not a problem to buy. So I know how painful it is for the businesses who really want to have a global reach, to integrate hundreds of different providers or gateways, sign a lot of agreements with different APMs and acquirers. With crypto, it is one of the ways how to make it easier. Of course, the penetration of cryptocurrency is not so high, right? So you can, I mean, the number of users of cryptocurrency in the world, I would estimate around 100 million. So of course, you cannot expect all your clients to shift into cryptocurrency, but this number is growing, right? So I would say if you see this, this might work for you, the earlier you start, the earlier you will understand the specifics, the earlier you will start building your user base and directing your affiliation or advertising or whatever into the direction of the users who use cryptocurrency, collecting them on the forums, collecting them on the different websites with analytics, with trading advice and whatever. There are a huge amount of places already where you can find those people. Yeah, I would say from what I wanted to explain you about cryptocurrency, that's it. If I decided to leave some space for the questions, here you can see the contacts, right? If you like to contact the sales or have some sort of the partnership or have some something together with us in the media campaigns, feel free to write. I have a very rare last name, so it's usually very easy to find me in all the social media easily. If you need my email, it's max@coinspaid.com. So should be easy, just 3 letters of my name. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Max. Yeah, indeed, we have 10 minutes for questions. So I think I'm just gonna dive in straight away. But first, let's see, Steve, Luke, do you have any questions directly for Max at this stage? Or would you prefer talking after?
Hi, Max. Hello. Can you hear me well?
Hello. Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. Really appreciate it. It was, yeah, very interesting. And I think you're absolutely right in terms of, in which way the world's working at the minute and, how open, people need to be now, with crypto and the way that it's certainly been in the past sort of 6 to 8 months we've all seen has been very, very promising. The question is, how do you see this kind of, continuing? And, I'm very excited to speak to you after this as well. But how do you see this kind of trend continuing? Is there specific things there that you see that are key indicators as to why things are going so well at the minute, and what are they going to be? What's the next steps?
It is relatively philosophical question. I would say that right now we are already becoming an old generation, right? So the people in early 20s, they are just different, right? And kind of like they feel that all this situation with the technologies exploding, they kind of like start to feel that keeping money in the national money in the banks is a bit weird, right? They kind of like start to build this feeling that they really want to own their information, they really want to own the content, and they really want to own their money. And especially like with you see all these shakings on the market, right? When the economy is struggling, these people are still in universities, right? And basically in the good universities, the teachers explain them how the world works, right? How economies work, finance work, and money as well. And they start to kind of like build the feeling that they are interested in different money. And right now, as you see, cryptocurrency is anywhere in the news, right? And it's techy, it's interesting, and these people start to earn money right now. So cryptocurrency is also driven not only by the big organizations or the big economists are saying that cryptocurrency really makes sense. And you see even Elon Musk had some jokes about crypto and so on. So it all kind of like builds that people are really becoming interested. Yep. And here is a bit of the paradox, which makes the situation a bit weird. Because of the limited supply of the cryptocurrency, the more people want to invest a bit, right? Maybe just $100 just to kind of like own a bit, right? They still build demand. And because cryptocurrency is limited in supply, then the price grows, which kind of brings more interest from the retail investors. And it kind of like makes the price explode and it appearing everywhere in the news. And these waves, it kind of like a snowball, or how you call it, a snow. When you start creating it, it becomes bigger, right? And that is what's happening with cryptocurrency every 3 years. So I would say right now it is on the hype. Then it will come slightly lower again, right? So we will see a bit of the quietness. But still, you see the companies investing, like the big organization, like the PayPal, like the Tesla, The Coinbase is planning the IPO, which will basically open the doors to big investor or funds to the crypto companies, right? And I'm quite sure that some other cryptocurrency companies will start doing this as well. It kind of all creates this ecosystem when people really like to use it, and merchants really start to understand that it is much cheaper than acquiring, honestly, right? Like twice at least, because then there are much less middlemen and there are much less risks, right? Because you don't really have fraud, then you don't need rolling reserves, right? You don't have an acquiring bank and an issuing bank, the scheme in the middle, so the prices are just lower. So merchants start getting into this as well. So I think in the payment space, it will continue to grow, not only with Bitcoin because of the limitations on the blockchain, but some new technologies are growing right now as well, like Tron, or there are basically a lot of them, right? I do not want like to create this about advice on what to invest.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't want to steer you down that direction. You know, that was much more of a kind of personal one, if I'm honest, rather than anything else. But I'd certainly, in terms of business and you know how we can collaborate, a lot of synergies there I see, and we're very excited to obviously have that conversation after this with you guys. It seems as though we have a lot of things there we can both help each other out with.
Agree. I asked you about crypto businesses because we're launching the wallet as well, because right now we are a B2B company.
Sure.
We are launching the wallet, I would say, in the next month or two. And there we, of course, need good APMs, acquirers to kind of like secure a gateway to allow users to use the classical financial instruments to enter
yep.
crypto.
Perfect, Max. Sounds like it was meant to be. Let's speak after this.
Perfect, guys. Then let me drop in some questions as well, since we have 4 minutes left. Max, you still have powers to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So there is a person who's asking, where is Coinspaid crypto processing licensed? Which is the jurisdiction you would recommend for a crypto license?
Right now, I would say the easiest and the quickest one would still be Estonia. We have in Estonia, we are looking to secure a few other licenses in the different places. I don't want to disclose this information here, but we are licensed in Estonia. Basically, it gives us pretty good flexibility. So the regulator is relatively strict, right? So if you obey all the regulations, you don't really have a lot of problems. And it's also, with this license, we also have the possibility to open accounts in the banks all over the Europe and EMIs. So this license is not so bad, I would say, if you compare with Gibraltar, which is also great, but a bit more strict, or with Malta, which kind of strict, but also not really clear how to get it.
Yeah.
So it's also still a bit of a trade.
Yeah, with regards to Malta, definitely, yeah, it seems a bit blurry. Super, Max. And we have 2 more questions. Like, do you think the regulation will be stricter for crypto? I assume that would be in the long run.
I would say it will be relatively strict, right? Because it's still kind of like the centralized system. And of course, the governments, in order not to restrict it completely, they need to create a certain set of rules for businesses to protect the retail clients. Right, so I believe this is the only way how this will evolve, right? Because of its decentralization, it becomes a very good instrument for the money laundering, right, and for illegal businesses. So the regulation in this space for businesses kind of understand that it has to be done, right? There is no way around it. And it will become stricter, unfortunately. What we are not afraid of strict regulation. We are more willing to have a clear regulation, right, with the clear set of rules, which will allow us to open good accounts with financial providers and really know what are the rules of the game. Because right now it's not always clear what are even the rules.
Yeah. Perfect, Max. Thank you. And the last question, I think it's also a bit personal question for one of our viewers. It's, what's your best cryptocurrency investment tip at the moment?
Do you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I had my headphones disconnected.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I do.
Yep. Perfect. So I said like the last question, because we have just 1 minute left. It's
Yeah,
also
let's go.
personal from one of the viewers. What's your best cryptocurrency investment tip at the moment? Let's call you the Elon Musk of today.
Yeah, guys, I would say the advice would be, let me open. I would say the majority of the portfolio, I would say 70 to 80% would be Bitcoin. Then I also the fan of ADA. It's the part of Cardano. Then Ethereum. And then I like token of Binance, which is called BNB.
Yeah.
And the relatively new project, Polkadot, and the abbreviation is just DOT, D-O-T.
Yeah.
And then there are some other like Luna, Mir, but this is more like risky investments, I would say. So if you take the top 5, I would say investing 80% in Bitcoin, the rest in the top 5 from the market capitalization, and you should have a relatively good portfolio, which is relatively low risk.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, BNB is really a cool one and it has a good use case. So yeah,
exactly.
At least they're giving some reductions on the exchanges, etc., etc. So
it's the best example of the token that I would find.
Perfect, Max. Max, actually, we have our next presenter. It's Vladimir Polko from Coinspaid. Maybe this will be an interesting topic for you as well, because they're also into acquiring services and so on. So I'll actually give the mic to Vladimir. Okay, and Max, thank you very much for the presentation and
thank you very much as well. Ciao.
Yeah. Speak soon, guys.